This is an article from Elliott Lake Today, our local newspaper here, about the grand opening of the William Logier All-Wheels Park, or better known for us as the pump track. Okay. And it was very well attended. But my problem with the pump track is that it's not accessible. That's my problem with it. I do not begrudge having a pump track here. I think it's a great thing. I think it could possibly bring in tourism for Elliott Lake, but it will not bring in people with disabilities. It does not allow for children with disabilities to participate on it. And that, I think, is wrong. And it was apparently terrific, and it was opened with the attendance of Councillor Rick Bull. Rick is also the chairperson of the Accessibility Advisory Committee, the Recreation and Culture Standing Committee, and he is a member of the Public Services Committee. And he described the event as saying 50 to 60 kids showed up and everybody did some routes, and it was amazing how many people enjoyed the track. A lot of parents were there, and there were many, many compliments, and that is great. Please don't get me wrong, it is fabulous. It's nice to know that an investment like that is paying off, just not for people with disabilities. And then he went on to say, and I wish he hadn't, I just think it was one of our better investments in this community. So thank you for letting me do that, he said. And Mayor Wannen, who is also on the Accessibility Advisory Committee, said he saw lots of photos and lots of reports, and it's always well attended. It's so busy there, the kids are going, and the neat thing is it's all age groups. They're all very complementary to each other. The older children look out for the younger children. They all take their turns, and even the courts and everything else at the park are being so well used, so I would agree, he said. And I want to show you something that I went to investigate on, because I was sure, I was absolutely certain that there was supposed to be an accessible portion to this track. And so now I'll show you that. The AODA was enacted in 2005. So that's 20 years. And I say 20 years because that was the goal the Ontario government set, to have Ontario be barrier-free by 2025. Now, they failed, and that's to be expected, but for anyone to say that they were unaware of it, or that they're just getting used to it, or that these things have just come into play now, I think is a bit of an indication as to how important accessibility really is to municipalities, businesses, and the overall public. Here in Elliott Lake, for example, the tourism survey was put out, and it had not a single reference to accessibility in it. And this is something now that is going to influence how we go out and attract people to come and visit Elliott Lake, how we bring interested businesses in, because now there'll be people coming here, and a myriad of things. And accessibility wasn't even considered. The narrow-mindedness of that, to assume that nobody with accessibility needs would come here. They wouldn't bring their families. There are some interesting statistics on how much money people with disabilities and their families actually have as discretionary income to use for traveling, and that they do tend to travel as families. But we'll leave that alone for a minute. But to have said that it is something that the city is just getting used to, is to be aware and include accessibility issues as part of things like surveys and discussions and public meetings and so on. It could even be said that the accessible portion of the pump track that was not put on the original purchase was an attempt to leave us out of events that happen in the city, leave children out of the play areas that are available here, and young adults and older adults who still have an interest in physical activity and getting out into nature and sunshine and all the rest of it. But to then not mention us in the article, to say that it was one of the better things that was done in the city without us being considered, that's where the hurt comes from. That it's here, and it's great for the people who are using it, but that we weren't considered in it, that's hurtful. And then to turn around and say there was space left, and we hope that that will be part of phase 2. We hope. So maybe kind of, sort of, if there's the money around for doing something to include us. Lovely. And in an email, that was in response to a question that I asked, it says, as for the pump track, you're right. It would take a very skilled wheelchair user to navigate the current layout. However, space was intentionally left beside the track for a potential future adaptive addition. I'm hoping this will be part of phase 2. Doesn't anybody see how hurtful that is? Now, to go further into this, when you start talking about what a multi-use trail is, okay, and you are going to go out there and you're going to maintain them. Now, again, you have the AODA, and the AODA states that to do any major renovation or to put in new requires that that particular project be current with accessibility standards. Okay. It's a lot. It's expensive. It can be. You can get creative with how you do things. So what the MOU is designed to do is to make it so that the Cross Country Ski and Bike Club can do minor sort of maintenance-y things. Nothing that really breaks ground. They have to request permission to do that. And that they fix it all up, and it will be a multi-use trail for people who are hiking, walking, biking, those kinds of things. It will not be an accessible trail. I have some footage for you to look at of something that was pretty terrific that was done for the mountain biking, but it shows you what a multi-use trail is, and I believe that you can see that it could not be accessible, could not be considered accessible. And I will put some statistics up for you to show you the difference between the two. Now, it's very obvious that those trails are being well maintained, and they are multi-use trails. People could walk on them, they could hike, and they can use a bicycle, right? But they are not accessible. And let me tell you what the requirements are for creating accessible trails. So for recreational trails, there's consultation that needs to happen, and that obligated organizations shall consult on the following before they construct new or redevelop existing recreational trails: the slope of the trail, the need for and location of ramps on the trail, the need for location and design of rest areas, passing areas, viewing areas, amenities on the trail, and any other pertinent features. Obligated organizations shall consult on the matters referred to in subsection 1 in the following manner. Obligated organizations must consult with the public and persons with disabilities. Municipalities must also consult with their Municipal Accessibility Advisory Committee, where one has been established in accordance with subsection 29(1) or 2 of the Act. The technical requirements in order to create an accessible trail, it's 80.9 in the design of public spaces. Obligated organizations shall ensure that any recreational trail that they construct or redevelop and that they intend to maintain meet the following technical requirements. A recreational trail must have a minimum clearance width of 1,000 millimeters. A recreational trail must have a clear height that provides a minimum headroom clearance of 2,100 millimeters above the trail. The surface of a recreational trail must be firm and stable. Where a recreational trail has openings in its surface, the openings must not allow passage of an object that has a diameter of more than 20 millimeters, and any elongated openings must be oriented approximately perpendicular to the direction of travel. So this would include boardwalks and ramps. Where a recreational trail is constructed adjacent to water or a drop-off, the trail must have edge protection that meets the following requirements. The edge protection must constitute an elevated barrier that runs along the edge of the recreational trail in order to prevent users of the trail from slipping over the edge. The top of the edge protection must be at least 50 millimeters above the trail surface. The edge protection must be designed so as not to impede the drainage of the trail surface. And despite paragraph 5, which I just read, where there is a protective barrier that runs along the edge of a recreational trail that is adjacent to water or a drop-off, edge protection does not have to be provided. So in other words, if there was a hedge, that would be a protective barrier. The entrance to a recreational trail must provide a clear opening of between 850 millimeters and 1,000 millimeters. Whether the entrance includes a gate, bollard, or other entrance design. So no matter what's there, you've got to have that kind of space between. A recreational trail must have at each trailhead signage that provides the following information: the length of the trail, the type of surface of which the trail is constructed, the average and the minimum trail width, the average and maximum running slope and cross slope, the location of amenities where provided. The signage referred to in paragraph 8, which I just read, of subsection 1 must have text that has high enough tonal contrast with its background in order to assist with visual recognition, and includes characters that use a sans serif font. So nothing with little swooby-doos on it. Where other media, such as park websites or brochures, are used by the obligated organization to provide information about the recreational trail beyond advertising or promotion, the media must provide the same information as listed in paragraph 8 of subsection 1. That's the difference.
It's a bad dream and I'll probably wake up in a second or two. People who don't know what my heart is made of shouldn't matter.